All right, hey everyone, welcome back to Be a Warrior podcast, and happy Halloween. I mean, this is crazy that we are at the end of October. It's even more crazier because Phoenix here has been so stinking hot that we don't feel like we've hit fall yet. And I say that, except that today we finally have cooled off and I get to wear a sweatshirt. So exciting. When you wake up and there's actually clouds in Phoenix and the weather is cool enough to make you cold when you get out of bed, we know that the tides are turning and the seasons are changing. So, yippee-ki-yay. All right, so last week I was telling you about a little pain I was having in the front of my residual limb. And for those of you new to the podcast, I am an above knee amputee. This December will be 6 years, and I just, for the first time in forever, had some pains happening and associated with me out and walking around. I went today to see my prosthetist for the sake of asking what the heck's going on. Needless to say, I hadn't felt it since last Monday, Tuesday, but I also haven't gone for that walk either. So we decided to just watch that and see what it was, and that more than likely it was like a muscle pain, that I may have just done something to the muscle. And you know, if you've ever pulled a muscle, it actually hurts for a few days, and try to use it, but it still hurts. So I gave it a week rest. Now this week with the cooler weather, I'm going to get out and walking again and hiking. So today, after the people that I have met the last few weeks, and if you're new to my podcast, the stuff that I talk about is about my personal journey, only because I can speak honestly and truthfully about what it is I'm going through, good and bad. I get to talk about the people that I meet, how it affects me, where I'm at in my journey, and what's gotten me there, and in hopes that it will help you to live the life that you want to live, not my life, your life. At least live it a little bit better or healthier, or to empower you to attack life with a little more zest and willingness, even though you might be an amputee. And yes, I started this to really straight out talk to amputees about getting over the hurdles that happen, especially the first few years, but on a day-to-day basis. And it's kind of worked its way into most of the stuff that I incorporate into my day-to-day living that helps me be what I think successful as an amputee in overcoming that obstacle or that hurdle in my life is also the same type of stuff that anyone can and should use to get through whatever obstacles they face, medical or relational or work-related or whatever. So it's kind of got a little blend. So if you're not an amputee, I'm hoping that this will enlighten you. Now today, because I am on the cusp of beginning something finally that has been in my heart for years and on my mind, and I'm the kind of person that if I feel like all my ducks aren't in a row, I don't like to just jump in and see how it goes. So I've really kind of been procrastinating, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's time. So for those of you that have heard my stories before, you know that when I became an amputee, I also kind of stumbled into the equine world and with horses. And to make a really long story as short as I can, I mean, I think you can go back to like my first year of my podcast and you can probably find something on the horse aspect in this story. But let's reiterate. About a year after my amputation, I thought I was doing great. Mentally, I was like there. I was setting goals, hitting goals. Everything was clicking, and I was feeling really on top of the world. And when my husband and I went to a resort to get away for a little bit, they had something called equine meditation. And I was intrigued because as a girl growing up in the Midwest, I dreamed of always having a horse of my own. So that never came to fruition because I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. We didn't have horses there. And I really have only been around a couple trail rides ever in my life. That is the extent of my horse know it, my horse knowledge. But my love has always been there. And if you look at my room here, you can see horses are kind of everywhere, and you don't even get to see the horse stuff that's actually all over the place. But horses have become my whole life now. Well, when we were at this resort and we did this equine meditation, it was just a couple of us, my husband and two other ladies. It was right after COVID. So they were just opening the doors back up, but they were keeping the amount of people that could be there at a very, like 50% of their capacity. So we did this with only a couple other people. We learned how to ground ourselves, to work on our breathing. And of course, I'm talking in like a 15-minute time frame before they introduced us to a corral full of horses. And when I say full of horses, it was probably like 5 or 6 horses. Yeah, there was about 6 horses. And they were just milling around. And we were told to go and approach a horse. And she said, if you look over there, most of the horses were right there by the gate ready to greet us, the 4 of them. But there were 2 standoffish ones. And in my true form, I always go the hardest route because I want to prove to myself that I can do this. And I like the harder route. Obviously, if I'm going to be an amputee and choose that path, I choose the hardest route. So I went, when she told us to go by the horses, everybody picked a horse that was standing right by them. And she said, just, touch them, get them get used to you, work on your breathing, be calm, be slow, empty your head, and start feeling your feet up to your legs, up to your chest, up to your head, that type of calm in meditation. Well, of course, I went over to the harder ones, and when I went to go touch the one, now, you have to understand that I am walking over uneven ground as a first-year amputee with no assistive devices, and I'm trying to be graceful and gentle. If you are an amputee, taking it slow is harder than just walking at normal pace. I don't walk, even today, I don't walk normally when I take a slow, meandering kind of walk. So I tried to do that, felt very uncomfortable. I mean, I was really tight, got to the horse and laid my hand on it carefully. And that horse turned around, looked at me like, I don't think so, sister, and walked away from me. It was frightening. It was humbling. It was defeating. And it was heartbreaking for me because I really thought I had my stuff together. I hit it well, I guess. But with horses, they know you better than you think they do, especially ones that have never even met me. So, of course, the lady's like, oh, how does that feel? And I said, like, rejection. And she said, okay, well, why do you think? So that was the first step, is asking me to think about what could have triggered that. Why did that horse not want me near it? And I know enough about animals, and I'm intuitive enough, I believe, to know that it probably had to do with me, not them. Because one, this place does this for a living, and those horses were picked for a reason. So it's not the horse because it just was having a bad day or whatever. It was probably the person walking up to it. I'm new, they're not. And so I instantly took it upon myself as it was a problem with me. And I just said, I think I just don't feel comfortable walking on this uneven ground. I tried to guard it and I tried to be gentle walking up, but I think it probably came across as tight and restrictive, and there was something wrong. And of course I was wearing pants, so the horse couldn't see or smell that leg, or maybe they could smell it. But anyways, I am different, and I think the horse just realized that there was some garbage and baggage in me that I wasn't addressing. Needless to say, there were tears welling in my eyes at that moment, and I could see my husband basically saying, keep your shit together, because we can't have you crying in the middle of this. This is supposed to be a good thing. So I laugh about that now, because it truly was, that was the look he was giving me. And it was like, don't do it from across the way, as he's like sitting there. The person that doesn't even want to be around horses was sitting there with a horse that was like, yeah, love on me. This is great. I mean, it was just so defeating, and I'm so competitive. It made me so upset that his horse liked him and my horse wanted nothing to do with me. So you can see how that went really bad, really fast. But I'm no quitter. And the lady was like, all right, let's try something. Let's halter these horses and tie them off on the fences all around. And I want everyone to go to a different horse. And I think that was just her way of me going someplace different. So I picked a different horse. Horse couldn't go anywhere. And I got to work on being calm, breathing through, getting up to her and making sure that I could calm myself once I got set in my stance. And then we were told to lay across the horse as much as we could and work on symbiotic breathing, like trying to breathe with them and control the breathing and everything. And then we were told to let the horses free from the rope and to see what would happen. And lucky it was, my horse didn't want to leave me, the new horse. But what ended up happening was one of the most profound moments I've had as an amputee. I would say it was the most profound event, and it was a year after my amputation. And it was that same horse that wanted absolutely nothing to do with me cleared my area as fast as he possibly could, came over between me and the horse that was letting me pet it and hold on to it, shoved that horse totally out of the way, walked right up against me, and I just stood there, and he kind of laid into me. And I was like, holy crap, this is the same horse that wanted nothing to do with me. And on his own free will, he came to me, out of all the people there, came to me and shoved another horse out of the way, and all of a sudden was connected. Profound. I mean, the joy that I felt in that moment by being seen by an animal that large and obviously completely in charge of its own emotions and mine, actually accepting me into its space was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. Which then led me on the path to getting equine training certification, advanced training certification, equine therapy certification, taking some adaptive horsemanship classes so I could figure some things out. Since I'd never been around horses, I wanted to learn about grooming and tack and all that, because there's more to horses than just getting a chance to play with them. And I wanted the whole experience. I wanted the whole, like, scoop and poop, everything experience, cleaning out hooves, checking teeth. I wanted it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the dirty, and the beautiful, all of it. Well, what ended up happening with that moment was my joy was so great that the moment I got home that weekend, I reached out to a very old friend of mine from when our boys were in Scouts together. And I just said, hey, I don't know where you're at nowadays, but I know you've always been involved with some horses and your daughter's been involved with horses. Do you know anybody that would let me just spend time around their horse? I don't want to ride. I just want to be. I just want to be present. I want to work on my breathing. I want to work on letting go of things and just coming to grips with my new reality. And she said, yes, me. And tomorrow I'm rescuing a horse. And I'm like, what is the chance? Now, if you've been following me, you know that my faith is very strong. And especially to get through the amputation, I really had to lean into my Christian faith and that I had a purpose that was more than injury and more than what I had been going through for the last 5 years prior to amputation. And I thought, this is a God wink. The fact that this happened the way it did, that was profound, that I thought to reach out to someone I hadn't talked to in maybe 6-7 years, and that next morning she was going to be bringing home a horse. Now, the excitement in me was huge, but I also thought, you know what, if you're bringing home a rescue and it's a 1,200-pound animal, they probably need time to adjust. She'll probably say, hey, it's not what I thought. Maybe give it a couple days. Nope, that is not what happened. The next day I'm tooling around trying to contain myself, waiting for the phone call. And she called and said, you need to get here now because the horse is here. They said she was fat, that she had this disease. She's pregnant. And we're like, what? She's pregnant. Now, keep this in mind. They were going to euthanize her that day. And it was a Sunday that she told me she was picking her up or taking her. And that Monday I was going to come over. So she arrived on Monday. I came over and she was very pregnant. Like I think their cycle that they for pregnancy is, I think, 11 months, and she was 10 months at least. They had no idea, supposedly. So here we are now with a whole different ball game in our midst, because now we could possibly be rescuing two animals, and we also could possibly be losing two in the same breath, because we had no idea what that horse had been through and who impregnated her. And the medicine that they were giving her for her disease was not approved for pregnant mares. So we didn't know if the fetus was going to come out with issues. So needless to say, April 1st, believe it or not, April Fool's Day, the baby was born at 2 a.m. and he was beautiful, strong, healthy, huge, and ready to rock and roll. But with that being said, the day that I met this horse, there was a connection so pure, so deep, that my friend just looked at me, and she called me that night and said, I've never seen that before so fast. She said, if everything goes well, and I don't want you to get your hopes up, but if she survives this birth and all this, everything goes right, I want this to be your horse. And that was, again, the biggest blessing I could have asked for in my life. So not only did I, a couple days ahead before, I had the most profound experience with another living creature, I now had the biggest gift given to me from an old friend who had no idea the impact that was going to have on my life. Oof. And Sunny, you are a godsend. I am grateful for you in my life. So here we are, fast forward, I have now been with this horse for, it's been like 4 years. And no, almost 5, I guess. And she and I are tight. She's going to be my therapy horse. Not for me. I want to now give back. So I am starting an equine therapy for amputees and people that need help, and also for first responders who are in need for some just mental clarity, some mental breakdown, because the mental aspect of our lives directly affects how we handle things emotionally and physically. So when we are struggling mentally to get past something negative, or just something that's burdening our hearts, we struggle with what comes to being healing or staying healthy. And so my Be a Warrior 360 page was always about the physical, the mental, and the emotional side of us, because it takes everything working together in a positive way to actually find true happiness, true joy, true healing, and really true living, to be able to live our best life. We can't be suffering physically and still live our best life. We cannot be suffering. And when I say suffering physically, like I have definitely a physical ailment with my amputation, but I'm not suffering with it. I am thriving, not just surviving, thriving. So I just wanted to reach out to you and let you guys know, the fact is that horses have so many benefits that come with, not just, I don't even ride my horse. I've been on her 2 times, 3 times, and that is it. Because that is not her value to me. And I want her to know that she is more than an animal to be ridden. She is my spirit. She is the one that embodies my calm. She plays with me. She has got a sense of humor that just cracks me up. And she's got some passion there that is, I think, knowing that she's gotten a second chance at life, like they know. But I will tell you, horses will reduce stress. They reduce heart rate. They reduce blood pressure. They reduce the stress hormones of cortisol, and they increase our endorphins, the feel-good hormones, just by being in their presence, just by being next to them, by seeing them, smelling them, watching their demeanor. And truly, the most wonderful moment is to look directly into their eyes, and when they're looking back at you, it's humbling. It's truly humbling. So as I venture into this brand new world for myself and for others, my ultimate goal is to lift somebody else up that is struggling, to show them what the healing power of a horse can be like, to enjoy being outside in the fresh air and learning to breathe, really breathe again, and to let go and to empty the mind, to get out of your own way so you can live the best life you possibly can. So that is where I'm at starting next month. And I'm very, very excited about it. Horses will help us learn more about ourselves, and they help us get out of our own way, especially when our fears and there's limitations that we put on ourselves. Horses help us navigate through that and eliminate those limitations we put on ourselves. They try to eliminate the fears that are in us, because as an amputee, and having talked to many amputees, I noticed that a lot of things like trust and fear are some of the biggest roadblocks that we have now, not to mention pain, right? The phantom pain, phantom sensations. So just an idea so you know that it's there. Reach out to me if you are interested in being a part of this. And I am working on so many different avenues of this. Yes, I'm in Arizona. If you're listening and you're somewhere else in the world, in the nation, not even in Arizona, I'm looking for ways to adapt this virtually, to get one-on-one with you so you can see and be a part of and feel as close as you can. But for those of you local, please reach out to me, because I am looking for people that I can start working with starting next month. I know the holidays are coming. It will be a little bit spotty November, December with holidays and travel for me and as well for you. But the weather is finally changing. I can actually get people out without it being 5 a.m. and we don't have to swelter in the heat. And some big things are coming with all this as we grow and explore and everything. But if you are interested in equine therapy, groundwork, equine meditation, and even dealing with artistic aspects of equine art, I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's another avenue I'm exploring. That is coming, and I'm ecstatic. So keep an eye on my Be a Warrior 360 Facebook page and my Instagram page. And I will be getting on live with those videos and see where we're at, and there'll be a schedule that you can actually check to see availability for you to come and see me and my Girl Sick Collar. Plus, we have a couple other geldings, other males that we've rescued that are really, without much work on my part, are already in a place at their age to just be used for helping people on the ground. Just, they're calm, they're respectful, they're lovable, they love their treats, but they're not something to be frightened of, and they don't have the jump and capabilities they used to have because they're now in their 20s. So we have some options and everything depending on who you are and what you're looking for. But like I said, equine therapy, there's a wide range of ways that equine therapy can be described or used. And I'm just telling you right now, mine is all about being on the ground, being connected, finding a connection, finding a way to let go, and start breathing and spending an hour a day or an hour a week, just letting go and being in the moment. And you will be surprised how much your life changes just on that moment you're there, and what you'll carry with you the rest of the week when you're not with my girl. So equine therapy, trust me on this, it is the most amazing, most epic moments I have spent in the last 6 years as an amputee, and I want to be able to share it with the world. So check that out, Be a Warrior 360. And, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Keep listening. Please share this, especially if you know someone really struggling. And you don't have to be an amputee. If you are just struggling with letting go of some garbage in your life and it's weighing you down and you're feeling like you're suffocating and drowning, if you have anxiety and you're just needing a place to feel connected, it'll be me and a horse and you. It's a one-on-one type of thing. It is not a class. It is one-on-one. Check this out. I think it can do a lot of people a lot of good. And I think my girl is ready to help you shine. So from me to you, have a beautiful week. Have a safe Halloween. Have fun, but be safe. And as always, be healthy, be happy,